So as far as recovery for question 2 for our chapter 1, unit 1 test for algebra 2, uh, question 2 and question 3 are going to be done in the same video. Question 2, it's a bit of a quick one, so I'm just going to put it at the beginning of this video. So it reads, over which interval is the value of the function in the graph increasing? These should be intervals because there's more than one, but it does tell you to select all that apply. So that gives you the clue that there might be more than one. So let's go ahead and look at our graph. We have a graph that seems to be increasing and decreasing in certain places. As far as how to answer this question, our answer pool actually gives me a clue. My intervals are all referring to x. So some of us were trying to say, oh, if increasing from 5 to 15, because that's where I start and end roughly. However, that's how much a graph is increasing. We're talking about over what intervals it's increasing. We're talking about what x values it is increasing over. So if that's the case, then we are going to look at our graph and see where it's increasing. So starting from my initial point, I am increasing, 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 increasing until this point. That's my first interval, 0 to 5, circling that. From here, I am decreasing, 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 decreasing. I'm going down. From there, so I know it's not going to be my second row. From there, I remain stagnant. I'm not going down, but just because I'm going down doesn't mean I'm going up. So I am neither increasing nor decreasing here. And finally, my endpoint, I am once again increasing. This would give us a score of a 2. Okay, so with that, we are going to actually go to question number 3. So 3 reads, based on the shape of the graph and its key points, in 1 to 3 sentences, describe the graph below. Use as many details possible. Okay, so what are we talking about here? We're talking about the shape of the graph and its key points, and we're talking about in 1 to 3 sentences, describe what's going on. So we need to remember what my key points are and what our behavior means. So our key points, if you remember, there are 5 of them. They are our minimum, our maximum, our x-intercept, our y-intercept, and our start. So these are our 5 key points. If you do not remember them, please make sure we're studying them and commit them to memory because these are what we're looking for when we're talking about key points. They're going to come up not just in this unit, but as we go through Algebra 2, we need to know what's important when we're looking at any sort of graph. So as far as our minimum is going to be our lowest point. So in this case, I'm going to look at my graph. I'm going to see, okay, how far down does my graph go? And I see that it actually cuts off at the edge of the graph, right? And if we look at this graph, it's actually implied to go down forever. So do I have a lowest point? I think not. So my minimum, when I say that there is no minimum, there's no minimum to speak of, I write none. My minimum is going to be negative. Okay. Some of us just put infinity, which, though I understand what you mean, infinity has this implication that it's going up forever. It is increasing forever. So when we're saying we're going down forever, we need to make sure we include that negative sign here. We have that negative infinity. Okay. Our maximum in this case, we do have a highest point. That means this point right here. And just bring the graph, we go over 1, up 9. Our maximum value is going to be 1, 9. X-intercept is where the graph passes my x-axis. My x-axis is here. And my graph goes through at these 2 points. Those 2 points being that's -2, 0. And we go over 1, 2, 3, 4. We go over 4, 0. Quick note, you'll notice that I am writing all my values. I didn't just write -2 and 4. I wrote -2, 0, and 4, 0. Whenever we're talking about points on a graph, you want to make sure that you're including the x coordinate and the y coordinate as well. So all our coordinates are written as x and y, x being our left to right, and x being our up and down values. Okay, so if we're clear on that, for my y-intercept, I'm also going to look at my axes here. So in this case, I'm going to look at my y-axis for my y-intercept. My graph passes through it right here. That would be at 0, 8. And where's my graph start? I would say that it pretty much starts here. I can't see another valid starting point since it goes down forever from there. I'm going to call my start 1, 9. So I have my 5 key points, and I'm going to talk about my behavior. Behavior is, what does my graph look like? It is for sure U-shaped. And our vocabulary for that is going to be, it is a parabola. It is a parabola. And of course, that's its shape, but I also need to note that it's an upside down U. So I could write upside down, or more to the point, I could say that it is decreasing. Or even say that it is a negative parabola. It is decreasing to negative infinity. It is a negative parabola. But once again, this is me showing my work. What I need to do is write a description of the graph. So I'm going to take all this information, I'm going to marry the two, and I'm going to create one concise description. So my description is going to start by saying the graph. Talk about the graph, of course. Graph starts at 1, 9. Start seems a pretty good place to start. Graph starts at 1, 9. It is a parabola that decreases from its starting point, which is also the map. And I'm going to pause at this part. So I have my starting point mentioned. I've mentioned that's also my max. And I've mentioned that I am decreasing and my parabola is U-shaped. So as I'm writing, I'm double checking to make sure that all my points are included. So now, what do I want to talk about? We say that's decreasing. Da, da, da. We're going to talk about the points that it passes through. It passes through negative. We'll start with the x-axis. So we'll start. It passes through 0, 8. On the y-axis, and -2, 0, and 4, 0 on the x-axis. On the x-axis. So what did I mention? I mentioned all my intercepts here. And now the only thing I want to mention is that it decreases infinitely. And there, I have just combined all my points. I could mention it has no minimum, but that's kind of married to this idea. So that is how I would go through question 3. Once again, is this the only version of this answer I'll accept? No. As long as you include all these points in your description, I will be happy. As far as recovering for this question, you're going to go to your recovery worksheet and you're going to go over our questions 1 and question 2. So both of these, you have your own graph or your own function, and I'm asking you to describe them. So you're gonna use your key point behavior once more. I did not give you the graphs. However, you should have access to your Desmos on your laptop. So go ahead and plug these functions into a graphing calculator, go through the points and the behaviors, and once you have these two complete, go ahead and come up to me, and I will go ahead and give you the recovery sheet for these questions. Okay? If you have any further questions, do let me know. Otherwise, best of luck.